Hello everyone, and welcome to ComSci 174, Computer Vision. In this short video, we will be introducing ComSci 174, so we'll talk about the topics, the course outline, the course requirements, and the course materials. Okay, so let's start. ComSci 174 is Computer Vision. So it is one of the elective courses that ComSci students in their third year or fourth year are allowed to take. Okay, so I'm thankful that you've shown interest in this topic and took it as one of your electives. In the past, this was a ComSci 197 subject or a special topic subject, but when we instituted the new curriculum for K-12 students, we decided to just create a new subject for computer vision, and that's why we have ComSci 174. So technically, this is a new course, but we have been teaching this in the past as a ComSci 197 or a special topic. Okay, so just a little background. Now, for the prerequisite, ComSci 22, which is your OOP, is the prerequisite for this course. And we just added this because we wanted to make sure that you're finished with your programming series, which is your ComSci 11, ComSci 21, and ComSci 22. And having ComSci 22 means that you've finished those three, right? So this is just to make sure that you're already comfortable with programming, since presumably you're in your third year or fourth year, and so computer vision programming should not be a problem anymore. Okay. Now, ComSci 174 has 3 units. It has 2 hours of lecture and 3 hours of lab time every week. For our lec schedule, we have our class every Mondays and Thursdays at 1 to 2 p.m. But for the lab schedule, this is TBA because, as I mentioned, this is a new course. This is the first time that 174 is being taught. And apparently, the SCED coordinators forgot to add the lab sections. So they probably thought that this was still a purely lec class. And so they just added a lec class for this and forgot to add the lab section. So they're trying to figure that out now, and the schedule for our lab will probably come within the week. So just watch out for that. Okay. Now we will be discussing about 1 to 2 topics per week, depending on the length of the topic. Usually about around 1 topic siguro. Okay. Now for the course outline, let's look at the topics that we will be discussing in 174. So of course, first we need to introduce computer vision, the tools that we'll be using, images, which are basically the ingredients of computer vision, and then we'll do image processing, feature detection, segmentation, object recognition, and then we'll take a look at convolutional neural networks, and finally we'll also look at what to do with videos. Okay, now let's go over to our course outline to see the detailed version of the topics. So for introduction to computer vision, we look at the history, tasks and applications. So what can we do with computer vision? Where can we apply it? And then of course we'll look at the camera, and then images and the different color spaces, and then of course we'll talk about the main tool that we'll be using in this course, which is OpenCV. And then for image processing, we will take a look at how to transform images, so like rotating, scaling, translation, and so on. And then arithmetic, so adding, subtracting, filtering, okay, so applying filters. So you know how there's a lot of filters nowadays on images, right? So Instagram filters, even in your messenger, my day, I think there's already filters there. So you'll learn how to make basic filters in this course. And then we'll also talk about thresholding, morphological transformations, and equalization of the histogram. And then after that, we will talk about how to detect features. Okay, so let me just zoom in a little bit. Okay, so feature detection, description, and matching. So in the later parts here, for example, when we do recognition, we will need some features from the images. So we will look at corner detectors or corner features, edge detectors, contour detectors, feature descriptors, and feature matching. Okay, so once you have some features on images, we could match those features for images of the same object, and so we could match them, and then we could probably do some stitching. Okay, so we'll learn more about this. So this is the technology behind your panorama images in the camera, so stitching. Okay, and then next we'll look at segmentation, which is basically separating different regions of the image, or yeah, different regions of the image, so grouping together pixels. So we'll take a look at thresholding, clustering, texture based, edge based methods, and region growing methods for segmentation. Okay, and then after that we will look at object recognition, so object detection, face recognition, and then image classification, and what are some of the benchmark data sets. Okay, and then to level up on that classification, the current standard, or the current tool that's being used for image classification is convolutional neural networks, or CNN. So before we do that, we of course need to have an introduction to machine learning, introduction to neural networks, and to deep learning. So if you've heard of these terms before, neural nets, deep learning, CNN, then this part should be of interest to you. Okay, so we'll talk more about architectures of CNNs and what are the tools and data sets that are available for us. Okay, and then finally we'll wrap up with what to do with videos. Okay, so we can do motion detection, background subtraction, and tracking. So of course these are just some of the few things that we could do, but we'll focus on these three for this course. Okay, so that's the detailed version of the topics. So going back here, let's now go through the course requirements. So what are our requirements for this course? So 40% of your grade will come from machine problems. So there's probably about 2 to 3 machine problems. So these are the big projects that you'll be working on for the duration of the course. And this will be usually by group. So groups of 3 or 4 maybe. And yeah, so these are the major projects that you'll be doing for this course. So you'll be doing it hands-on. Okay, and then for 20% would be small lab activities that would try to apply what you learned from lecture. So for example, when we do image processing, we'll have a corresponding lab activity for that, so that you could apply what you've actually learned. Because it's one thing to just watch the lecture video, but it's another thing to actually do the thing, right? The image processing itself. Okay, so I'm assuming that you did not enroll in this course just to watch some videos, but you actually want to learn computer vision. So it's better to actually do the activities for you to be able to learn. So you'll notice 60% of your grade will come from your lab activities. So machine problems and lab activities, 60% from the lab. Now how about the remaining 40%? So this will come from the lecture. So 20% will be from reporting. So next week I'll be assigning the reporting topics to the pairs that we've established for this course. So you'll be doing a report on a specific topic, and you'll be creating a video for this, because of course we're in an online setting. So you'll have to create a video which explains your assigned topic, and then maybe show some demo videos for that one. Yeah, so please don't take this lightly, because this is 20% of your grade. Okay, so it's as important as your whole lab activities, right? So yeah, and I'm not sure if we're probably only doing this once, so one reporting per pair. So make sure that you actually give it your all for this one-time reporting thing. Okay, and then for the rest of the 20%, this will come from the final exam. So we'll only have one exam for this course, which is the final exam, and this will of course come at the last part of the at the end of the class, basically. Okay, so those are the requirements. So 60% lab, 40% only for the lecture. Okay. For the grading system, so if you're interested in the breakdown of how you were graded, or how you got your final grade, so this is the grading system that I'm using. So this is also available in the course outline here, so you can also see that there. Okay. For the references, we have 4 references for the books. Computer Vision by Sletsky. This one is the more theoretical computer vision book, and then the other 3 are more practical, because this is more on OpenCV. So if you want the theory, you go to this book. If you want application of OpenCV, then you have this one. So learning OpenCV, practical introduction to CV with OpenCV, and then practical Python and OpenCV. So if you are the type to learn from books, then these are the main references, but usually our references would just be the docs from the OpenCV, the updated docs from the current version or whatever version you are using. Okay. Now for the course materials, for the lecture, we will have lecture notes for each topic, and then lecture videos, of course, wherein I'll be discussing the topic itself. And then from time to time, there will be demo videos, of course, if I need to show you the like for example, demos of image processing, or demos of image classification, and deep demos of how to do things in OpenCV. So there will be demo videos as well from time to time, but probably not all topics. But of course, you're not limited to the resources that I'll be giving to you. There's a ton of YouTube video resources if you're the visual type of learner on computer vision, right? So you can look for other resources, so you just have to be resourceful. And if you need help, you can of course ask in the group chat. And yeah, so by the way, I forgot to mention this earlier. Please make sure that you are in the group chat for ComSci 174. I believe every one of you is already in there, but if you are not, please tell me so that I could add you in the group chat. Okay. And all of these course materials will be available in our course web page. So for ComSci 174, we won't be using the LMS. I've set up a course web page wherein I'll post everything. Okay, so all the notes, all of the videos, all of the instructions for the lab, I'll be posting it here, and even the schedule. So right now we're in week 1, so we have 2 lectures scheduled. So this one, which is intro to ComSci 174, and then on the next one is lecture 1, which is intro to computer vision. So the video's already been uploaded. You can watch it on YouTube. And for this week also, we have the lab 0 introductions, which is the assignment 0 that I told you about last week. So yeah, please do this within this week as well. And then for next week, we have this scheduled, so OpenCV, and then the instructions for the reporting. Okay, so you can find everything in the course page. Okay, now next we have lab exercises, right? So for the lab exercises, you need to install Python, because that's the language that we'll be using. And also, of course, you need to install OpenCV. Okay, the Python module for OpenCV. You'll usually do your lab exercises by pair, so I've already asked you to find a pair beforehand, and you'll be working with your pair for the duration of the semester. And I've asked you to make sure that at least one of you has a working laptop or PC, so that you can work on the exercises. Okay, so just please make sure that all members contribute in the exercise, even if it's by pair, right? So just to be fair to everyone, if you're submitting as a pair, then make sure that both of you actually contributed to the exercise, especially in machine problems, right? Because of course you know how it is with group work. Okay. Now for the lab submission, um, I'll usually ask you to send it by email. So this is my UP mail, grdaradal@up.edu.ph, and um, so usually before in the face-to-face setting, I'll let you run your code and make sure that it's working, right? But since you probably have different version or setup from mine, so I will ask you to send your code, but I will also ask you to include a demo video of your working code. So once it's working, record a demo video of your code working. So basically, I'll ask you to run it, and you record. You make a recording of your code running and what is the output. Okay, so you usually show the image that's being processed or whatever it is that the task of the lab exercise is asking you to do. Okay, so just a heads up, I'll usually ask you to include a demo video of your code, just so we can avoid having problems like, sir, this run in my laptop, why isn't it working on your laptop? It's because probably you're using a different version. Maybe you're using Python 3, maybe I'm using Python 2, or you're using an older version of OpenCV, and then I'm using a newer version, or vice versa, right? So just to avoid the different depend or compatibility problems, then I'll just ask you to record the demo video of it working on your own setup or environment that you're working on, so that, well, I can see that it's working. Okay, yeah, so just a heads up. And then the last thing is that we usually have deadlines, right? But this is just a guide. Okay, so basically the schedule is there for you to be able to guide you, okay, of what to do for this week. Now of course it's up to you to follow the schedule or not. But if you don't follow the schedule, of course the workload will pile up, and you might end up cramming everything at the end of the semester, so which is not advisable also, which is not good, right? So the deadline could be treated as a guide, but as much as possible, please try to follow the deadline, so that your workload won't pile up as well. Okay, and of course it would also pile up for me as well, because then I would have to check a lot of things at the end of the semester, which is not a good thing, right? So yeah, I'll allow late submissions, but as much as possible try to follow the deadline, because I'll also be giving you ample amount of time to finish it. Okay, so that's it, I think. If you have any questions, you can ask me, don't hesitate to ask, and yeah, I'll see you next time.